Welcome to Discover Janesville. Our next guest is Jim Lyke, a national treasure.
Thank you for introducing me like that.
My pleasure.
I figured it was my one shot.
See, that's right. I just wasn't sure if it was sequel or National Treasure 1, 2, or 3, but either way, you are involved in a lot of projects. You direct the radio plays. You write, I think, daily column for Janesville Messenger.
It's twice a month, actually.
Twice a month. And you've written plays. You're involved in several projects. How do you find time?
I don't. I have one of those things from Harry Potter where you create more time and you know, kind of go back in time and do additional things. That's kind of how I do it.
See, it's good because in Harry Potter they kept it as a secret, and you're just right up front sharing it with everyone. That's very gracious of you.
Well, you know, I have that kind of candor.
That is good to know. See, because to me, I think it's really cool that there's things that are interesting to you, and you go ahead and do them. You don't say, you know what, I'm going to wait until something happens, and then I'm going to get involved in a certain project. You go ahead and get involved. Well,
it becomes tougher with each year because I have a couple of teenage children, and as they get older, they're involved in more activities and stuff. So I've actually kind of backed off on a few things just because time is, you know, kind of a fleeting.
Limited?
Yeah, it's limited. It's kind of a fleeting thing. So I really have to plan my projects out. I'm kind of to that point now.
Okay. Now, today we are sitting at the Rock County Historical Society building, and we're talking about Janesville's history. And you got a project that you're working on that has to do with the real life, film in real life, or life in real film? Or?
The film was called Janesville in Real Life.
Janesville in Real Life.
And it was kind of a restoration project, actually. Back in 1940, there was a traveling film crew that went from city to city and offered to take, in effect, a documentary of the city at that current time. And their big selling point was that they had color film, which was still pretty much a novelty at that point in time.
They didn't take each frame and colored it in afterwards?
Nope, wasn't hand-tinted. They had the real McCoy, early, you know, Kodachrome or whatever the heck it was. But anyway, so they came to Janesville and found a sponsor that was willing to finance their project. In this case, the sponsor was the Janesville Daily Gazette. And so the Gazette paid to have this film made. And it's not a true documentary per se as much as it is just various scenes from around town.
Just snapshots of life at the time.
It's live video, though. I mean, it's actual video. They went inside the General Motors plant, for example, and I believe it's by far the earliest color footage that was shot inside General Motors of the line actually working. There's footage inside the old Parker Pen plant when it was over on Court Street. There's a lot of color footage of the downtown, you know, and it's just fascinating to see these things. Buildings that don't exist anymore, or buildings that do still exist, but in much, much different form. You know, there's footage of people having cocktails inside the bar at the Monterey Hotel back when that was the prime night spot.
I'm trying to think in that sentence what still exists. Cocktails, you know, everything else has
that
changed.
Exists. Well, one building that does still exist is the Janesville Armory. And there's a very poignant scene in there because they happened to be in town the week that the Janesville battalion that was deployed over to the Philippines, that was the week that they were being sent off to Fort Knox for their basic training.
Wow.
And so they happened to take footage of these guys in full uniform. They're in front of the armory. They're smiling and waving.
How many of them returned?
I think about a third of them returned. About a third of the 99 returned. And it's very sad because here are these, you know, happy young men ready for their adventure, and they have no idea what's going to happen to them. And I'm referring, of course, to the Bataan Death March that the Japanese imposed on them in 1942, I believe. So this was about 2 years before that happened.
Wow. Now, how did you get your hands on this film?
The film was actually found somewhere and made its way into the hands of the Rock County Historical Society. And from there, it was... We actually don't believe that the film that we have is the actual finished product. Because what they did, what Real Life Films did, is they created this film, and then once it was done, it was shown at the old Jeffries Theater, which used to stand on Milwaukee Street. It was actually shown on the big screen. And then at that point, we assume it was turned over to the Janesville Gazette, but we really don't know what happened to the finished film. We believe that the reel that we have is actually outtakes, because it's several scenes, they're spliced and taped together. They don't seem to be in the same running order as some of the sheets that we found that have information about what was on the film. I mean, there's old newspaper articles that tell about what they were filming. There's old sheets that have what appears to be some sort of a running order, and it's not the same. So we think that this footage might actually be outtakes. There's no sound on it. And how I got involved in it is that they asked for my help in identifying what was actually on the film, and then to create a script and to narrate the film. And so with the help of Dave Haldeman, who is running the camera today, Dave cleaned up the film, did some repair work, he added the sound to it. We recorded my narration over the scenes in the film and put it together so that it's a completed product now. And it's actually on DVD now, that you can buy it on DVD at the Historical Society office.
Well, I was going to ask you if that footage will ever be available on internet, but it sounds like it's being already available here. So if people want to pick up a copy, they can come and get it.
Not only is it available here on DVD, but JATV shows it quite often. So if you check the JATV listings on a regular basis, you should be able to catch it. It's been aired many times since the project was completed.
When was it completed?
Oh boy, I think it's been close to 2 years now. It's been a while now since we've done it.